Shwmae a chroeso I Sgwrs, podlediad Consortiwm Canolbarth y De. Yn y podlediad hwn byddwch chi'n clywed y trafodaethau diweddara am bob math o bethau addysg. Hello and welcome to Sgwrs, the Central South Consortium podcast. In this podcast we'll bring you the very latest discussions on all things education.
Hello and welcome to this recording on developing citizenship and social studies in your curriculum. I'm Liz Tilthman. I am the Associate Advisor for Humanities at Central South Consortium.
Hello, my name's Louise Foster and I work at Litchard Primary School in Bridgend. I'm a Year 5 teacher and I'm also currently leading the Rights, Respect and Journey for our school.
So I have a few questions for Louise regarding her citizenship project at Litchard Primary. The first one being, how did you initially identify which aspects of citizenship needed to be further developed at your school?
So we began by using audits provided by the Association of Citizenship Teaching, also known as ACT. In a large primary school with over 500 pupils, it can be difficult to be fully informed about what is happening in nursery, for example, when you're teaching in Year 5. So what I quickly realised that was in order for the audit to be effective, it would need to be a collective effort, especially as with the implementation of the new curriculum, our topics are constantly being developed and refined. I uploaded the audits as a Teams document and we assigned a staff meeting to give everybody the opportunity to fill it in. Staff members brought along a laptop and then they sat in groups with other members of their steps. This allowed everyone to collaborate simultaneously while also provoking some interesting discussions. By providing the time, space and framework to really drill down into our citizenship and social studies provision, it provided us with the time to reflect upon one of the four core purposes and consider how we at Litchard Primary School develop our pupils into ethically informed citizens. And whilst we were drilling down into the elements, it was an opportunity to reflect back somewhat proudly on the experiences, skills and opportunities that we provide for our pupils on their journeys from 3-year-olds in the nursery to the confident, creative, ambitious, rights-aware pupils that leave us at 11. What I would suggest to other practitioners is don't get bogged down in a paperwork exercise. When you begin to have these conversations, it becomes fairly apparent fairly quickly where the gaps are and to identify the areas that you might feel you need to work on. I think that would be my main point of emphasis. Don't get bogged down trying to find examples of activities for each point. Rather, identify your weaker areas quickly and then spend the time developing actions, as this will obviously have more of an impact. Something that proved extremely beneficial for myself and our school was a conversation with Zoe Baker, who is Head of Educational and Professional Development for ACT. Within an hour or so, I had a very clear idea of where the gaps and weaknesses were, and I had a very clear idea about simple actions I could put into place, as well as longer-term ideas and actions. I felt that as a school, we were in a strong place with our citizenship provision, but something quite profound that Zoe kept asking each time I described an activity was two simple words: so what? Two simple words which really made me focus and reflect. So what? What impact is this activity having on your pupils, and what action is being taken as a result? She also really clarified the meaning of active citizenship for me and described how it's a pedagogical approach to give pupils a practical experience of democratic action. So it involves pupils in learning how to take part with others in activities designed to make a positive difference to the world around them. With that real clear definition and an understanding that pupils needed to be given the freedom to explore an issue, it really made me understand the importance of effective citizenship teaching. Active citizenship just allows students to use their knowledge in a responsible way, and it has long-term benefits such as decreasing political and social apathy. Students learn how to make a difference, and students understand the role that they can make within the communities and will hopefully have a spark and passion to become active members of society in adulthood.
So what action did you and your school take following the conversations that you had with Zoe?
So through completing the audits and discussions with Zoe, it was clear that whilst a lot of good work was going on at Litchard, many aspects were incidental or were part of actions taken by pupil voice groups, not necessarily embedded within our curriculum. So whilst pupils who were part of the Learning Council and Eco Committee, for example, they were fully involved in activities and experiences, I just couldn't guarantee that every child in the school was having the same opportunities. What I decided to do is, rather than speak to staff somewhat abstractly about active citizenship, is I decided to produce and trial a unit of work that demonstrated active citizenship that then I could share with colleagues, something that was signposted by Zoe at ACT and something that I would recommend to every primary practitioner was the Active Citizenship Toolkit that is produced for primary. The toolkit sets out a full process for primary teachers to follow, and the process then is split into 3 simple chunks. So the first aspect is to take aim, the second is to take action, and the third, which we were missing quite often, was something we probably haven't done enough of in the past, was to measure impact at the end of that project. So encourages pupils to reflect and evaluate their actions and report back achievements. So the toolkit is ideal for a teacher who has never completed anything like this before and takes you step by step. For example, choosing an issue, the kit really unpicks that and encourages the pupils to consider what people can help them, decide what action they'd like to take. So are they trying to raise awareness of an issue? Are they trying to change policy? Are they trying to do something else? It also asks the children how they will measure success and helps pupils map out exactly what it is that they are going to do. My starting point for this was the diagram that you shared, Liz, with our school, the CS progression mapping. And that really helped me focus on what I wanted to achieve. So at the top, you put the main what matters statement to provide the high level concept that you want to focus on. And then below that are the what matters concepts, and then the topics and factual information. And then whilst the children were driving the project, I had a clear understanding of what it was I wanted them to achieve. So we're currently reading a novel in class called Kick by Mitch Johnson. And if you haven't read the novel, it's a story of an 11-year-old who lives in the slums of Malaysia and works in a factory making football boots, but has a dream to play football for Real Madrid. His family live in poverty and he is surrounded by crime lords. The novel explores many issues, including economic disparity between footballers and the workers in the clothing factories and the poor treatment of workers. There are many citizenship concepts that can be explored in this novel: equality and diversity, fairness, justice, rule of law, power and authority, rights and responsibilities. Through reading the novel, the children were struck by how the children valued their clothing compared to the footballers wearing expensive football kit just once. And they showed an interest in going down the route of exploring fast fashion. As the children learnt more facts, it was clear that this was an issue and an action that they wanted to work on. So what we did then is we followed the process, the Get Active process. So the children, once they'd decided their issue, they created their own action plan. So they mapped out who was affected by the issue. They also thought about who could help us with the issue, with the action. So they considered the head teacher might be able to help us, the mayor, parents. They decided that other pupils might be able to help them on their journey, and even the caretaker, our Mr. Roberts, they decided that he would be able to help them go forward. So they considered who was affected by the issue, and they thought about how people in the countries where fashion is dumped, the garment workers, and they considered how all of us are impacted upon the pollution that's created by fast fashion. They then decided the first thing that they wanted to do was to prevent fast fashion from being a problem by creating a swap shop. So they decided that they would ask members of the public to donate clothing to our school and then allow other people to come and choose items of clothing they wanted. And they thought that in order to do this, they would have to ask our head teacher. So they created their own presentations to go and persuade. They'd been learning about persuasive techniques in their language work, and they created their own presentations and went forward a little bit like Dragon's Den and presented to the head teacher and deputy head why they should be able to hold this event and the benefits of it. The other thing that they considered was that a lot of clothing that they already own, they often put into landfill if it's been ripped or torn or the zips are broken. So they came up with the solution, and they're far more creative than ideas than I could come up with. They decided that they would like to have sewing workshops to learn how to repair clothing. So that was something that they investigated. They sent a message to a local counsellor to ask if she was able to help, signpost them to somebody who would be able to teach them. And we had a great response, and we were signposted to a local lady who offers sewing lessons. And they then contacted her and asked her if she'd be prepared to come in and teach them some basics of sewing. The other thing they wanted to do was teach other members of the class and the year group how to look after clothing they already own. So they were quite excited to discover that clothing has a tag with washing instructions on, and they were aghast. They thought it was like a secret code that they suddenly discovered, and they found information on the internet that explained laundry washing symbols, and they said, Miss, can you print it off so we can take it home and show our parents? They thought it was absolutely amazing. So it was really interesting just seeing the creativity that they came up with.
So what has been the impact of this project, Louise?
So in the short term, the pupils have been fully engaged in a topic that was interesting and relevant to them. They had an authentic context to work within. The learners really led the learning. It was rights-based, and we had curriculum links across all areas of the learning experiences. It also provided an opportunity for other members of staff to be involved, to see the process in action. We've also discussed with the governors what the plans were, so they've been involved in conversations around active citizenship as well, which is really useful because our governors are very active and often come into school to join in with activities.
Diolch am wrando ar y benod hon o Sgwrs. Cofiwch ein dilyn ar Twitter a Facebook, tanysgrifio ein sianel YouTube, ymuno yn cymunedau ar ein gwefan a darllen ein bwletin ysgolion wythnosol am y newyddion diweddaraf. Thanks for listening to this episode of Sgwrs. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, join our online communities via our website, and read our weekly school bulletin for the latest news. Hwyl am y tro. Bye for now.